So the ANC is celebrating its 110th birthday. We speak now to Thabo Shole-Mashao. He is a political commentator to just reflect on what he made sense of President Cyril Ramaphosa, the president of the ANC's January 8th statement. Thank you very much, Abuti, for your time this afternoon. So as you have had a couple of hours to digest what it is that you heard yesterday, your most salient points from that delivery.
Thank you very much, Dudu. Good afternoon to you and to the viewers. I think, to me, it sounded like a campaign speech, number one, in a sense that the ANC is approaching its elective conference in December. As we all know, the president had to come out strong to seem to be in charge of the party that is collapsing, that comes on the backdrop of a harsh Zondo commission, that comes on the backdrop of a bruising from the local government elections, and that is generally limping. And so as a result, I thought the president was trying to put things together, but there were missed opportunities to do, I must say. I thought the president, as opposed to trying to say that there are those, he said, there are those who think that the ANC is on its knees, but the ANC lives and the ANC leads. I think that was somewhat, he was tone deaf to what the rest of the country is going through, particularly when ANC staff members did not have a very good year as far as salaries are concerned, particularly when the ANC did not carry itself and execute its duties well in society. I thought he could have taken the opportunity to sincerely apologize to South Africans for the misleading of the ANC, for the mishaps, and he could have really, really, truly apologized and said that the ANC has gone wayward and they are humbling themselves in front of South Africans. But we didn't hear that as much.
You speak of the road to the elective Congress happening at the end of the year. Speaking a short while ago with Limpopo ANC provincial chairperson, Mr. Stanley Mathabata, he disagrees with you. He says they did a comparative analysis in supporting him for a second term, and there were material conditions among which the way he dealt with COVID-19 and the way he has dealt with corruption decisively. Perhaps you can, remember a moment when that has happened.
I think Premier Mathabate is painting him, is putting his colors on the mast as to who he's supporting. And I think there were a lot of inconsistencies, mainly from the ANC. The president yesterday indeed mentioned some key things. He mentioned that those who define themselves outside the values of the ANC should know that the door is open. Those who steal money, those who are corrupt, those who are ill-disciplined must know that they've defined themselves out of the ANC. It is not the words of the president that I'm unnecessarily interested in this point. It is the consistency of the application of policy and laws of the African National Congress. Do you and I know that Dr. Zweli Mkhize, he resigned on his own. The president was sitting on a report. He didn't come out. Mr. Transparency was nowhere to be found. He was extremely quiet on that issue. As he said, he's studying the report. It took the former minister to resign. The president had a beautiful opportunity at that moment to show that he's anti anything that may even be perceived as corruption. And I'm not saying Dr. Mkhize is wrong of any, or he's of any wrongdoing. What I'm suggesting is perceptions matter, and the president missed that boat. We heard what happened in the commission about EOH and Mr. Zizikoto. The president kept quiet about such issues. Then those in the RET can come back and say, but Mr. President, your silence is deafening. Where is the consistency? And if the application lacks consistency, the integrity of the law comes to question. So I think with those missed opportunities, and there are many others, by the way, but with those missed opportunities, I think the president indeed could have done much better. But it is now upon the African National Congress. I don't know how they're going to do it. It is now upon them to convince the rest of South Africa that they have truly changed a new leaf. But it's a hymn that we've heard more than once.
A hymn that we have heard more than once. I am by no stretch of the imagination and a mechanic, but I heard something the other day that speaks to the ANC being a very well-run or a well-oiled machine. It's just that it has the wrong people servicing it. Is there something to be said about that when we speak of the relevance of the party in 2021? You mentioned earlier on that the president's statement was a tad bit tone deaf.
Dudu, we can say many things about institutions, but at the end of the day, institutions are people. Institutions are as good as its people. So the ANC, it's as good as its people. If they are trying to speak about some intangible aspect of the machine that exists, no. It's the people who are the machinery of the ANC. So if the people within the ANC are corrupt, and some of them, not all of them, if the people inside the ANC are incompetent and are unable to carry out their historic mission, which is to create a non-sexist, non-racist, democratic and prosperous South Africa, we will judge them by the capacity of their people, and that's just as good as it goes. There's no intangible thing that lives anywhere, somewhere out there that's called the ANC. The ANC, it's its members, its people. So when the people go wayward, it's the ANC that goes wayward. And I think right now, South Africans have come to a point of realizing that perhaps it is not our duty to try to rescue the ANC from itself. Perhaps our priority should be South Africa. And perhaps the internal factionalism, the wranglings inside the ANC should be put aside, and we should all focus on South Africa instead.
Thabo Shole-Mashao, always a pleasure. He's a political commentator.